Hello everyone, welcome back to Tall Tales Custom Tackles. Today is going to be a little bit different video. I've been saying I was going to do one for a little while about what molds I have, who they're made by, what pros and cons, of them, just pretty much go over a few little things, show you what the bait looks like out of each mold. And I pretty much ran every mold I have. Most of it's just a lot of them is going to be the same colors, you know what I mean? I didn't want to waste all day just pouring a bunch of baits in different colors and all, try to do anything real fancy with it. I just mainly poured to show what they look like. And we're going to get into it. Hopefully we won't drag it out too long. I can't promise it's not going to be long because I do get long-winded. First off, I'm going to start with a couple of just open pores. Let me open this, and these are just basic colors. I've gotten rid of a lot of my silicone open pore molds just because I don't use them that often. First we have a 6-inch, and this is just like a little fat tail teardrop bait. It does pretty good. Then I got a 4-inch. This little mold actually shoots pours a great bait. This was some remelt stuff, so I mean, maybe the camera will pick it up. These little molds, they actually do really well. They're silicone, they're small, and it takes some practice to really pour a clean bait because of how small the 4-inch is, and the 6 inches. It's got a small channel also, but they're pretty nice. I've done a couple of pours with them with like some laminating with it and stuff like that, just multicolors, and it does actually pretty well. Those, I'm trying to remember the guy's name I got them from. Just give me a second, I'll tell you in just a second. But anyway, these really do great out of all the silicone molds I've gotten. That's probably one of the better ones I've liked. I've had a lot of them from different people, like a bunch of them from Stank X. I mean, I have bought a lot of them from Stank X over a period of time. Let's see here. Yeah, the guy got the the gentleman I got those molds from is Noah Allen Clark. He makes them, and he's a beast. He's a beast when it comes to these silicone open pore molds. He does a great job. They're a little more expensive than some of the other silicone molds I've bought, but they're in my opinion, they're worth it. All right, let's step on over to this other silicone mold. This is a little 3.5-inch made by Stank X Baits. Little silicone mold. I mean, these molds are pretty cool. I had several of the Stank X silicone molds when I first started out, and I mean, I really did not use the other ones. I had some bigger ones. I had I can't remember what they were. One was like a 4.5, the other one was like a 6-inch, something like that, and I never used them. So I ended up selling them. I kept these mainly for my own use. I really don't even sell these. I kept this for my own personal use, and here's what, it's just a little, and they're good for jigs. I'll run this on an A-rig, but it makes a good looking little bait. I don't even glue eyes on for myself, not this one. You know, I just run it straight like it is. Then we'll get into a couple of, these are just some that I made myself just for personal use. You know, a couple of small chunks and then a bigger chunk. And I mean, just for personal use, they do all right. It'll do everything I need it to do. Bigger one than the smaller one. I mean, if it was something I sold or done a lot of, I mean, yeah, I would buy me a mold, but there's no need because I don't use these very often, but when I do get ready and want different colors, I have it. This is another personal mold that I made, and if you're wondering, this is resin, you know, fiberglass resin. You can take a smooth surface, glue your bait down, make sure everything's clean, then pour it, and then just dig the old plastic, because when you do it in resin, it will, if you're using like a worm or something like that to get your shape, it will end up heating it up and, you know, so you just have to dig it out. But anyway, it's like 4.5 inches long. It actually makes a good looking worm, you know. And these right here go back to personal use, you know. Stuff like this I don't sell, it's just for my personal use. I mean, if somebody wanted some for, you know, just a few to have, I mean, I would, but I mean, this ain't nothing quality. I mean, this looks all right, they do good, but you know, it ain't nothing I would list for sale. All right, let's move on before we spend all day on this. While we're on homemade stuff, I did not pour no baits. Let me step over here. I'll show you a couple of the first ones I started out with. When I first got started, I made me a silicone mold, and it's a hunk of, but I didn't pour none of it, but it actually works. You know, it's not perfect. It really isn't perfect, but surprisingly, it pours a really good bait. I should have dug around. I have some of these that I've poured up for myself, and it actually is, I'll be honest with you, this big old hunk of silicone mold right here, I use a couple of like cutting boards to clamp it together, and when you pour it, it pours just as good of a, you know, that style bait. It's made by El Grande. It actually pours just as good of a bait as you buy in the store from that company, you know, and I love those worms. But this is another one that is personal use. I've got a couple of them up here. Like this right here is another one, couple old worms, you know, crawl bait. I don't even know why I still have that one. I've only used it a few times. Let me see if I got anything else. I've only used it a few times, and then like old school swim bait, got one without and one with the hook slot, you know, stuff like that. I don't use that stuff no more. I guess you'd say I outgrown it, you know. But anyway, I still have it hanging around, you know. You never know. I might talk to somebody one day that's trying to get into it and looking for anything, and I might just give it to them, you know. Stuff like that I have no use for, and I ain't looking to sell none of it. Okay, let's get back on track. Let me set the camera down for a second. And what I'm actually going to do is just one at a time. I'll bring some baits over, and then we'll look at the mold that goes with it. Let's see, jerk bait. All right, this is actually one of my newer molds. I just got in. I featured it in my last video. Made by BTS molds. Really, really nice. I mean, they do a awesome job on their molds. They take a little while, and they are very pricey, but that is I really like this jerkbait mold. I had a few other jerkbait molds a while back. I ended up with a I ended up with a couple of do it molds. I didn't care for it. I didn't care for it. You know, the quality wasn't there. It was the machined one. You know, it was the supposedly the good one, and I just didn't care for it. Didn't do that great. Then I ended up with a quality injectors, and I'm not knocking quality injectors, but I ended up with a quality injectors 5-inch jerkbait mold, and I liked it less than the do it molds. It just did not. I think it was one of their first ones, you know, like when they first came out. Because I've looked online, and their recent ones, they've changed their molds up. You know, they got more channels, they got more ventilation in them and stuff like that. So they might perform better. But that one I had it just did not shoot great at all. I mean, you had a lot of voids and a lot of problems in it. So I ended up selling it pretty cheap just to get rid of it. But anyway, back on track. This one, I really like it so far. I've done a little water test in my tank outside, and it's hard to get a good, accurate water test. But I mean, instead of your traditional just jerking a little bit, it's got really a wide swoop, almost like a glide bait. So I'm really excited to get a real good water test with it, because that tank is only I think it's about 4 feet long, a little over 4 feet, so it's hard to get a good water test. But I am actually excited about it. So that's the best review I can give on this one. Is I believe it's going to be a good bait. All right, moving on. Let's put this over here. Now I will touch base on a little bit more on BTS in just a second. I think we're going to, and I've done a video on these baits. It's the ring swim bait. And, you know, that is a gorgeous mold. I mean, they done such a fantastic job on this one. Very pricey. These molds right here are $359 a piece. I think actually $359.50 or something like that. Very expensive, but quality. Let me see. Oh, let me grab a bait. Because I've shown this mold in my videos before. I mean, it's just got the hook slot. I like this mold. I really do. I've made quite a few of them for myself. Let me see other colors down here. Give me a second. I should have already had some laid out, but it's a great mold. I actually, out of all the swim bait molds I've bought, so far this one is probably my favorite. You know, it really performs well. The bait itself does really well. It's got an incredible action. It's really nice. If you don't use a weight or a weighted hook, it holds close to the top, and with that tail action, it almost reminds you of like a whopper plopper. If you ever used a whopper plopper, it's like plop plop plop. You know, it's got a real good action. If you use a weight or a weighted hook, get it below the surface a little bit more and slow it down, I mean, it's just got awesome action. All right, we're gonna stay with BTS. That's a BTS mold. Let's see, I got, all right, punch. These right here, I got, and I try, most of the time I'll buy one mold, and if I like it, then I'll buy multiples. That's how I do. But anyway, here's two of the punch crawls. They're actually hollow bodies, and what I end up doing, and I'll show you, because they sell this mold in a hollow body, or you can get it in a solid body. But what I did was just bought two hollow bodies, because personally I like the hollow bodies. Anyway, when you buy it, it comes with the standard size rods, and the standard size rods, it gives you you get about a 3/4 inch hollow body. Personally, a hollow body is all the way to the last 1/4 inch. Like, you know, I like net bait pocket crawls. And anyway, so that, with them rods right there, you're able to get a full hollow body just like that. But with that being said, I have a lot of customers that don't want hollow bodies. So therefore, I got the other rod that closes it off, and you get the solid bodies. So therefore, you don't have to have 2 molds. Oh, I got hollow body mold and I got the solid bodies. You know, you can do everything you need to do with 1 mold. And it's just easy. I mean, if you want, I don't see why you would ever need to. If you want to make this a core shot, you could cut you out a longer rod and make you a core shot. I mean, I don't know why you would want a core shot in it. But anyway, I like this mold. This is, I'll say it's probably one of my favorite crawl molds I've had. I've had a lot of crawl molds so far, but I do like it. Anyway, I got 2 of these. They really work. They really work pretty good. I mean, they're extremely. If you like net bait, say like the pocket crawl net baits, they're very comparable. But it makes a very nice bait. I mean, very nice bait. Laminates perfect. You very seldom, I'm talking about not often at all, you very seldom ever have one of those baits not perform right. You know, it's just, it don't really happen. Okay, that was the last BTS mold. Now I'll go over the BTS molds a little bit. I like BTS. They have a great mold. I've only ever had 1 mold that I bought from them that I wasn't satisfied with, and it's probably mainly me. I had bought their Buzz Frog mold and I liked it, but I kept on getting little hollow voids in the feet, and I tried everything from, you know, and I thought it was just me, but then once I got, you know, started asking around and talking to other people that bought that same mold, they were having the same problems with it, you know, and it wasn't horrible, you know what I mean? I still got a bunch of them left from, I poured myself a bunch of them, but to me it wasn't good enough to sell because of the voids in the feet. It bothered me. I talked to them, I sent it back. They recut some more channels for, you know, try to get a little bit better venting in the feet, and it done better, but still just almost every single one of them would have like a little bit, you know. And I thought, like I say, I thought it was just me, and there was a couple other people that was having the same issue, and people that was way more experienced than me, so it wasn't a user error. It was just one of them things. You can't always get a perfect mold. Don't matter what company you get from, because I always vacuum chamber. Everything was done proper. It was just that one. But anyway, that's the only one I ever got from them that was not up to par for what I liked. But I mean, I still buy from them. I got a couple more molds from that company I plan on buying later on. Okay, moving on. Let's see here. We will jump to Crazy Flapper. This one right here, I have probably talked about it several months back. Alright, if you don't know what a Crazy Flapper is, it's made by Cali. And well, the bait itself is a Cali bait, but the company is from bait molds out of Ukraine. And you know, I bought this mainly for personal use. I mean, I plan on, I might sell a couple here and there if somebody wanted some, but the initial thought on this was for my personal use. Will I ever deal with this company again? No. There's a lot of people that have said good things about them. There's a lot of people that have got good molds from them. I will not, mainly because like every single bait, I can pour 100 baits and 100 baits will have a flaw in it. And I can, and I might still do it one day, right here, I can widen this gate out, and it would probably do a little better because it's narrow. But if you look right here, it's hard to see, but every one of them is going to have a bad spot right there. Hush, I don't know you. You can just see it. And usually they'll, and there it is. There's a little blemish, but usually they'll have a hollow spot there. You know, it's just, every bait is going to have a little defect in it. I contacted the company as soon as I got it and started having problems with it. And first thing they told me, and it's hard to see, but you can see I'd filed it down a little more. Try to look. You can see I'd filed it down a little bit more to try to help it out, because that's what they recommended. They, you know, I told them the problem, and they said, well, basically I'm out of luck. You know, I can try to file it down to get it work better. You know, other than that, it ain't their problem. You know, so I'm like, okay, well, in that note, I will never deal with that company again. Like I say, I keep it for personal use because it shoots good enough. I mean, I ain't worried about that little. It shoots good enough for my personal use. And I mean, like I say, if you've bought molds from bait molds, you know, you see them sell on eBay a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people love the molds they got from them, but that's the only one I bought from them. That one just was horrible. And that's actually, them two I showed you are probably some of the better ones that I've got out of it. Usually they're really bad. Alright, let's see. We will jump to, let me go ahead and bring a tray over here. I'll pull them off one at a time. Let's see here. We'll jump to the old, let's see. We'll go to the Fat Guys Fishing. That'll be a good one to step to. Alright. Sit this to the side. Alright, we'll go to the Reaper mold. This is a 4.5 inch Reaper. 14 cavity. I actually like this mold. This is probably one of the better molds I've gotten from Fat Guys Fishing. I've actually bought quite a few molds from Fat Guys Fishing. There's, you know, it laminates pretty good. Let's see, but it's an interesting bait. I mean, it shoots pretty good. This one you cannot hold pressure. If you hold any kind of pressure with that one, you will actually cause a lot of flashing. Let's see if I can get, but it will, if you hold any kind of pressure, it will flash on the end right there. But I mean, all in all, this is probably one of their better molds, and I've had several of Fat Guys Fishing molds, and we'll keep it with the Fat Guys Fishing theme. Then I'll go over it. Like I say, this one shoots really good. I do like this one. This is probably one of their better ones. I actually got a discount on this one. They knocked off a pretty good chunk because I had bought one of their classic swim baits when they first came out with the 8 cavity single, you know, individual sprues to laminate. And that bait and that mold was probably by far one of the worst ones I've ever bought. It would not shoot at all. It was horrible. It would actually fill up towards the tail. It was towards the neck, you know, towards the head. It would not work. I shot probably 300 baits out of it, testing, trying to see if it was me, and I just kept on shooting, and it would not work. I contacted him and talked to that guy for a little while and sent it back, and he had it for probably a month, and he finally said, look, man, I can't get it to shoot perfect. He ended up widening out the head and made that, and I got some of them laying around. Instead of having that swim bait look, it made it kind of like a hammer swim bait. He had to make the head blocky and big just to get it to to even shoot halfway decent. And he sent it back to me. I'm like, man, I did not like it at all. So he ended up giving me, I think, a 25%, 25 or some anyway. He gave me a discount on this one. And so I basically sold the mold to cover the rest of this. And then I saw, apparently a lot of people was having a problem with it, because I saw a lot of people posting that same mold for sale, trying to get their money back, and the head was changed the same way. So apparently they had trouble with it, sent it back, and they changed the head to a big old square head. Anyway, don't get me wrong, I am not bashing the company. I'm just saying that one mold right there was horrible. All right, let's stay with Fat Guys Fishing. I got the dead eye. Try to get you angled. This is a dead eye crawl. I actually like this little bait. This little bait, let's see, here we go. This little bait actually does pretty good. I like it. It's just a little 3.5 inch. They do have a 4 inch now, but I'm fine with the 3.5. It's actually small enough that I can trim it up a little bit, or even like this, and you can use it for a Ned rig. You know, it's small enough. Use it for a Ned rig, but you know, it shoots a pretty good little bait. They have a little claw mold for it now, but I don't need that. Anyway, this little crawl, I have 2 of those crawl mold. I do like it. Now this one is one like the other ones I showed, you just shoot it normal temperature and just normal speed. You know, even the BTS molds I showed, just a normal temperature and just a slow to medium speed, you know, just a normal speed. This one, you have to run it a little bit hotter, and you have to extremely fast. I'm talking about, when I say extremely fast, I'm talking about when you put it there, you better just go ahead and dump all of it, because if not, those little legs, it's got some small little legs, they will not fill in. So you have to, it took me a little bit to get this one figured out. You have to shoot it really fast, but I do like that mold. The little dead eye crawl is actually a jam up little bait. Let me see, do I got another one before I move on? Alright, that's that was the last Fat Guys Fishing. Now I did have a few other Fat Guy Fishing molds that done good, you know, but we ain't gonna get too much detail. I've made videos on them. Like I say, if I don't personally use the bait, I do not keep the bait. I've had a lot of molds that I bought, tried out, done all right. Some of them even sold okay. I mean, you know, but I mean, most of the time I will not keep something if I don't use it, you know. So pretty much everything I got up here I'll personally use. Anyway, moving on. Let's go to let's go ahead and go to Epic Bait Molds real quick. I got 4 of there, and I know y'all have seen this one on the video. This is the 3.5 inch pud. I've got 4 of those molds. Now I do like the Epic Bait molds. They are a little expensive. I mean, these are $100 a pop. I have 4 of these, and I mean that's expensive, but man, I'll tell you, they make such a great looking bait. Use like a 4/0 beast hook, and they do have cheaper alternatives when it comes to hooks. You ain't just got to buy the beast hook. But anyway, that is a jam up little bait. That mold, I love that mold. It really does great. You know, I mean, it's hard to beat a little open pore pud. But anyway, these little puds, they got a great little action. This big tail, it just kicks so much water, and this place is so much water. I mean, it's an awesome bait. But I mean, I've had a few other, I had the Epic Prey mold, and I'm sure you've seen it on the channel. I had a couple of the Epic Prey, and I had the 7.5 inch, I forget what they called it. That big 7.5 inch one, you know, it's one of the first ones that Marlon Bates done with him. And it poured alright, but I don't use it. I mean, a 7.5 inch bait around here like that, I don't use. And the Epic Prey bait, I liked it, but it was just, sometimes, you know, you would have to have it perfect to get it to perform just right. But I mean, I only had 2 of those molds, and you know, they're expensive, but sometimes I would have people wanting they would request the craziest color scheme, and you would have to do a lot of little, I would end up doing like a lot of little skin pouring, and like the bluegill, you know, patterns like that. And for what I was selling them for, I mean, I was selling them alright, but the time I was putting in them, I finally just said, you know, I'm just going to get rid of the mold, because then I got to where I personally wasn't using it. So I ended up getting rid of that, because I wanted to switch over to different styles. Okay, let's stay with Epic Bait molds. I just got this one. I hadn't even, this will be the first time you seeing this one on camera. I haven't even made a video of this one yet. I shot it one time just to see how the bait looks. This is their 10 cavity 3-inch grub, and I mean, their machine work is great. Their quality is awesome. Now I'll say it's not really a downfall. The only thing about Epic Bait molds, you pay for them. But I mean, that's just a really nice mold. Let me grab the bait. The only other thing I'll say about this mold in particular, this is their 3-inch. Really, probably any other company you buy the 3-inch mold from, they would probably call this a 2.5. Because technically, I mean, of course you can see it in my hand. Like, this is a 3-inch supposedly. This is you can see the 3-inch next to that 4-inch. Like, this one is 4 inches hanging. This one hanging is basically 2.5. If you pull it like that, it's 3. So I don't know why they call it. That's the only downfall that I'll say with this grub mold is, I mean, it's a small 3. I mean, it is 3, but it's a small 3. Most companies would call this a 2.5. But anyway, it makes a good looking little bait, and I'm actually, you know, I like it better, even though it's a little smaller than what I was expecting at first. You know, I was like, oh, but I actually like it better now that I think about it, because I can use it for all around. I mean, I could use it for a little small bass. I could use it for, you know, little medium-sized beetle spins, stuff like that. So, let's get that to the side. Anyway, that's the new Epic Bait molds, 3-inch little grub. And they do some awesome quality. I mean, it's a little expensive. I mean, that's a $150 mold, but I mean, I like it, so I ain't gonna knock it. It's a good little bait. All right, well, let's keep it moving. Let's go ahead and do some. Let's go ahead and go to. I'll do the stick bait mold real quick. All right, this is a 8 cavity. I had 2 of these. And you've seen these on the channel. I had the 8 cavity and a 10 cavity. I actually was going to sell both of them a while back. I listed them, and then the guy, he only wanted the 10 cavity, so I ended up just keeping the 8. But it's made by, and I like the mold. I just wanted to switch over, because I still am considering selling this one. And I still want to stay with a 5-inch, but they're I'm really considering going with another 8 cavity, but in a different brand that's just got, this is your traditional. I mean, this one, you know, you got the normal, it's got the normal look. Right here, the profile is a little different, but Epic Bait Molds, I've been looking at one they have. They have a 5-inch that, they have the Classic, which is designed like this, but then they have kind of like an angled, you know, I forget what they call it, like an angled spiral look. And I really like the way it looks, you know, and I've been considering getting one of those, but the mold, and these ain't the best colors. Like I say, this is some remelt stuff that I done. But this mold shoots really good. Like I said, I had 2 of them, and I got rid of one of them. So it does real good. This one is made by, this is the only, well, the 2 stick baits I had is the only ones I had by this company. It's made by I think they call themselves Dark Horse Molds or something like that. You can find them on Facebook. Which is a pretty good mold. It's stout. I mean, it's a thick mold, you know, like, I'll show you right here, like your standard molds. It's way thicker than your standard molds, you know. That's good, but the one thing about it being so thick, if you don't have cooling plates and you let it get hot, it takes forever to cool off. Alright, so we ain't gonna spend a lot of time on that one. Alright, so that was the only one from Dark Horse. Let's go over to Angling AI. We'll start out with the frog molds. You know, once I got rid of the Buzz Frog mold from BTS, I went over to Angling AI, and I actually bought these used from a gentleman. I should have just bought them new, because the guy that was selling them, I didn't go on the website first and see it, because if you spend $300, you get, you know, a certain amount off. The guy I bought them from, I'm not going to name him, but the guy I bought them from, I ended up paying only $3 less than what you can buy all of them brand new. So, you know what I mean? I should have just went ahead and bought them new, but I didn't have to wait on them. They came in, worked great, so it wasn't no big deal. But I got a 4 cavity, and this is the Atomic Toad, and then a 2 cavity, you know. And just depends on what I'm doing. I might only use the you know, the 4 cavity, or I might use the 2 cavity. I also have the foot mold. Or I guess I can open it up real quick to show you. It's just a little 8 cavity, you know, foot mold. I use it sometimes. I actually used it for the purpose of showing you the bait for this video. It really didn't do no good to use it, because, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Because what I did was shot the feet in chartreuse, but then I did a chartreuse and kind of like it was kind of like a remelt, so I don't know what you would call that color. A smoky silver look, but anyway. But you can see that the entire foot is all chartreuse instead of a laminate. But anyway, this bait is it's pretty interesting bait. It does good in the water. It's a little bit heavier, so you can chunk it a damn mile. And I have done this a few times. What I'll end up doing sometimes, if I'm using like beetle spins or anything small like that, I'll actually pull these legs off. You know, if I rip up the body, I'll pull the leg off and use that for a little grub. I mean, it works like a perfect little grub because it's rounded. You know, so it's almost, those toads are almost like a dual purpose. But anyway, I like the frog mold. I've actually, you know, I do like it. I just wish the body itself had a little bit smaller profile. I have looked at a few other frog molds online and have considered, you know, purchasing a different frog mold. Enforcer has one I've been looking at, but I haven't pulled the trigger yet. All right, let's stay with Angling AI. Let's switch over to, I got 2 of these, and almost every one of these you've seen in a video, but this is the 4-inch Cali grub by Angling AI. I have 2 of those, and you seen the grub a few seconds ago, but you know, 4-inch. This works good on a jig or just pretty much anything. You can actually Texas rig it with a smaller, you know, worm hook. But these baits pour great. I have the tail mold for it. Anytime I have a bait that I can get a tail mold or something like that for, most of the time I'll try to get it. But there's a 6 cavity tail mold for it. You know, because I do get customers that want different color tails and stuff like that sometimes, so it does help when you have it. You know, it saves time. Anyway, this is a good shooting mold. Now if one requires more heat, slower or faster or something like that, you know, I'll tell you, but pretty much most of these just your normal heat range, I mean, and normal speeds. You know, you ain't gotta just slam it. We'll go down to this one. This is the trick worm, 6 1/4, and this one is the flat body. You know, it's got the flat bottom, but I also have the rounded if I want to swap it over and just have rounded, which is a neat feature. Let me show you. I got a couple of them made right here. Show you the difference. Like this right here is the flat bottom and the rounded. I mean, it's pretty much like 2 different baits in one mold. You know, it makes it where you ain't got to buy a couple different molds. You can pay, you know, $60 for a bottom plate and basically have 2 different baits. I like that one. It performs really well. I did have a lot of open pore molds from moose rigs that was like little trick worms and stuff, and I mean, that's so much more convenient. Let's see, moving on. Menace. This is I call it the Menace Grub, but it's actually their Phantom core shot. I have 3 of these molds, so I can shoot 18 at a time. Let's see here. And like I say, a lot of these colors just remelt, so you might see the same color over and over, just in different style baits. This one pours really well. It ain't very often I do core shot. I keep the rods, you know, up there, put out the way, but it shoots really good. I've thought about it multiple times, and I haven't done it, and I probably won't do it. There ain't no need, but I really had considered just getting rid of the core shot version and just going with their, because they got the core shot and the non-core shot, and I've really been tempted to just sell all three of these and then just buy 3 of the non-core shot. But the likelihood of one person wanting all 3 of them, you know, is slim to none. I would not split them up, just because I would never get none of my money back. Anyway, the Menace Grub works really great. It shoots really good. The only thing with it, and it's like that with a lot of molds, if you let your molds get real hot, they don't perform as good. So if you can keep them where they're not cold, if you have your molds too cold, it'll cause a lot more denting. But sometimes it's harder to regulate that temperature with your cooling plates. If you can put just like a little bit of ice in it or something like that, just to cool it off enough where when it circulates, it drops the temperature down, you know, 10-15 degrees from what it was, you can keep on rocking. But once these molds heat up, they are hot. Let's see here. Let's go to, we're gonna stay with angling AI. And I know you've seen these on one of my previous videos here recently. I just got these in. This is the 4-inch Ecto crawl. I'm real excited about this one. This one shoots extremely good and laminates perfect. They do sell a claw mold for it that I will get, because I do have a lot of people wanting claw mold, the claws different on you know, the crawl baits, and sometimes that's a pain in the butt. But I got 2 of these molds. Like I say, I usually buy them in 2s. Like I say, that mold shoots really good. I can pop them out pretty quick because you ain't got no problems with it. I mean, it's every one I've shot so far in it. I've shot 100, probably 150 of them, and every one of them has been dead on perfect. I ain't had one messed up yet. Anyway, I do like that mold. As far as my angling AI, that one so far is probably one of my favorites. Alright, that was the last angling AI. Let's switch over to bass tackle. There we go. I got it all mixed up. So alright, bass tackle. I've had quite a few, and I ain't never had one of their molds not do right. Now I know you've seen this one in my videos. This is the 4.5-inch ringworm. Really performs really good. Let me see if I can find one. I got them mixed up over here, but there go with that same color. But that ringworm is, I like it. It performs really well. My dad, he loves this bait. Has caught a lot of good fish on them. It's just a little ringworm, and that end, you know, that little damn sea tail design right there just kicks up and makes a lot of commotion. This is a great little bait. It is one you have to, I ain't gonna say shoot this one fast or slow, but this one sometimes depends on the temperature. You gotta get the temperature. You don't want it real cold. You want your plastic a little bit warmer with this one because it's got so many, I mean, all those rings, you know what I mean? So for it to go through there and fill completely, you know, you gotta shoot it a little bit warmer. But I got 3 of those molds because they only come in a 3 cavity. So with 3 of them, I can shoot 9 at a time. Because, man, especially a while back, I was getting a lot of orders, and when I say a lot, those people ordering 200-300 at a pop, and you know, I'm like, man, so I ended up buying a 3rd one because I originally only had 2, so I ended up buying a 3rd one so I can pop out more. But they're not extremely expensive, so I mean, hell, I wouldn't. If I end up getting a lot more orders this summer, I might consider even buying another one. Alright, moving on. Anyway, bass tackle is awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and pull 2 of these down. Alright, moving on. This is a 4-cavity lizard mold. I actually have 2 of these. These are 7. They hang in when you grab them by the tail and let them hang. They're actually 7 3/4 inches long. You know, and they make a good looking bait. I mean, I like the bait. It performs really well. Like I say, I ain't had a problem with nothing from bass tackle yet, but I have 2 of these molds, and the reason I bought 2 of them, I had a gentleman last summer, well, actually last spring, he contacted me and ordered, you know, a few hundred of them, and I'm like, damn. It took me forever to do that order because I only had a 4 cavity. I said I won't end up in that problem again. So I ended up buying a 2nd one, and it's paid for itself in the long run. Alright, now we go to their ribbon tail. This is considered their 7-inch. Their 7-inch, what they call their 7-inch ribbon tail, is actually a 9.5 inch when you hold it up from the tip of the tail. Like a lot of companies, that's how they measure, holding it up like that. They actually measure from there to there. So their 7-inch is really a 9.5. and they have a 5-inch, but their 5-inch is actually about 7.5. I have been tempted to buy their 5-inch, and I still might one day. I mean, I still might. I was actually, and I got some of these to make, and I'm fixing to show it to you. I was actually really thinking hard on selling a couple of worm molds I have over here that I'm fixing to show you to get the 5-inch, but I didn't. And right now I got orders I gotta make of this bait, but let me look real quick, make sure I ain't missing one before we jump on. Oh yeah, let me pull this one down because I was about to forget that one. All right, the worm I was talking about is what I call, or well, I don't call it, he named it that, the gentleman I bought it from. It's the H worms, but they're pretty much designed very similar to a old culprit worm. Come on, get off of there. There we go. I like this mold. It really shoots nice. It's made by a gentleman on Facebook named Billy Cody. He done and I'm talking about an amazing job. They shoot perfect every time. I bought 2 of these from him, and they really shoot good. Let me show you. Like I say, it's all in the same. A lot of these are in the same color, you know, but they're 6.5 inches long. They're nice. You know, it's got a real nice action in the water. I like the worm, you know, but I had really thought about getting rid of this mold to get a couple of the bass tackle, but I mean, I don't see no need. This worm mold right here, like I say, I got 2 of these. Good quality. And I'll come back to that mold in just a second. I'll show you a couple things. Now this one you've probably seen more on the channel than any other one. This is the H-Crawl, and I've had more comments and more people contact me about the H-Crawl mold than anything. It's very similar to the Z-Crawl mold by Zoom, but it's a little wider and not quite as you know, it's just got a little, because you have to change it up a little bit. You know, it's got a little bit different design. I mean, it's very similar, but the bait itself is a different size. This one's wider. It performs really close. The Zoom ones are taller from, you know, bottom to back, are taller than these. But anyway, I contacted the guy I got the H-worm mold from. You know, I contacted him about making me a couple of these, and he did. You know, I told him what I wanted, and he made these, and I tell you, in my opinion, he done a fantastic job. These really perform great, and I have made a lot of money on these 2 molds. You know, the one thing I will say, I'm hoping that, you know, he don't do molds full time. The guy, he doesn't do it, so I'm really hoping this gentleman will get called up, because I've been wanting to get a few more things done from him. With that being said, the only downfall with those molds is, well, I had 2 of them made, and he uses different stock apparently, because this one is that much shorter than that one. So when I run them both side by side, I have to shim under this one because they're 2 different heights, and that's, you know, that's just weird. And same with this right here. If you really look, those H-worm molds, one of them is a 1/8 inch thicker than the other on the mold. You know, I guess it's just different stock size. But anyway, it performs great. It don't hurt anything. So, and let me show you the H-Crawl. Man, I about forgot. Oh, yeah, I know you've seen it on the channel, but there's the H-Crawl mold. I mean, or H-Crawl worm. It's a a beast. I mean, it performs very good. All right, let me grab a bait real quick. I'm trying to see. I know I should have one laying around because I actually thought I had made one, but apparently I didn't. So give me a second to find one. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'm slacking here. My 3-inch. I got 3-inch little stick baits that I didn't have none of them set out. Here I am dragging this video out now. Of course, it's gonna be long anyway, but I got these little 3-inch, and I like this little bait. Just a little 3-inch, little finesse style. You know, you can use it Ned rig, anything like that. I personally use it in a different technique for myself, but anyway, this one is made by Enforcer, and I like it. It's a little expensive. I mean, I paid $170 for this one mold. It's a 12 cavity, but so I only needed one of them. But when I was looking for something around 3 inches, you know, in a little stick bait, this was probably the best looking one I found that was designed, and so I'm really happy with it. But I'm trying to see if that's everything. I know this video is gonna be long. Man, I hate that. But that is pretty much all the molds that I still have. You know, I still, every so often I'll buy new molds and I'll sell ones that I don't like. And I mean, like the overview, and the reason it looks like there's so many. Now I do have about 17 different baits or somewhere in there that I'll offer, but you know, like 2 of that one, 2 of that one, 2 of that one, you know, a couple of foot molds, grub, two. Most of them I have 2 of each to make it easier, you know, to do bigger stuff, you know. And of course you got to have laminating C block dual injector. I got a quality injector 10 ounce. I got a 6 ounce up there from Bass Tackle. I did have a 10 ounce from Bass Tackle, but I didn't like it. It was too tall. I'm trying to hurry up and wrap this up because it's going to be long. You know, you got to have, if you're doing a lot of them, you got to have an air clamp. I got my setup for my cooling plates. They work great. If you haven't saw it, you can go back and look at some of my other videos because I'm trying to keep this down. That is actually a homemade vacuum chamber that I built that works really good. Anyway, we're gonna wrap this up. I'm sorry if it's too long. I just pretty much wanted to go over that stuff. If you got any questions about any of them, anything else, just leave me a comment below. If you liked the video, thumbs up. If you didn't like it, thumbs down. If you have you know, anything you want to ask me, go ahead. You can also go to my Facebook account, my personal one, under Eric Gilly, and you know, you can contact me there. I might see it way before I see it on here anyway. Go check out Tall Tales Custom Tackles on Facebook, also on Instagram. And we're going to have another video coming out in the next couple of days, and it will not be this long. This one's just long because of everything that went in it. The next one will actually be on the crankbait side. You know, I do a little bit of crankbaits and stuff like that, so I'm going to switch it up and go over there. But anyway, I appreciate you watching. Just stay tuned, you know, watch our other videos and go back and watch some of the older ones if you're new to the channel, and just see, you know, see what it's about. Anyway, thank you for watching.